And subscribe to the channel, Certified True TV. We're back. We're talking about how Drivers Inc. in the trucking industry has exposed foreigners for making Canada's highways killing fields. Literally. Certified True TV. Right? Literally making Canada's highways killing fields. It's really insane, right? So this is what's going on. I'm gonna play this video. We're gonna do a reaction video to it. But it just goes to show you that the killing, it's a killing field. These highways are a killing field. What do I mean? I'm going to show you right now. Hold on a second here. Let's play this. Here we go.
1,000 carrier and supplier members from across the country. In turn, these companies employ over 250,000 Canadians. I want to lead my brief opening comments with what I believe you will quickly realize about this issue.
Here we go.
That the Driver Inc. crisis in our industry is not a problem without clear and identifiable solutions. It's simply a crisis without the necessary political will to solve the problem.
Solving problems?
The issue the committee is examining is not a new one to our sector, nor should it be to the federal government. CTA has been sounding the alarm with the federal cabinet and provinces about this issue since 2018.
Okay, hold on.
The problems identified in 2018 have since been left.
So this has been a problem since 2018. We are in 2025. You guys can do the math.
To grow unchecked, and in 2025 has evolved into a full-blown crisis, a crisis of compliance,
Terrain, what's
safety,
up, bro?
drug trafficking, human rights abuses, rampant labor law, and tax fraud. It's been allowed to become
hold on. Did you hear this?
Out of control.
Let's go back. Hold on. Just listen to this, man. Let me double back on my YouTube. Yeah, Terrain, what's up, dog? Hold on. Okay, we're good. So yeah, Terrain, what's up, dog? Okay, so we're gonna play this part again, but let's listen to
the crisis that is destroying our industry, causing carnage on our highways, and robbing our social network of billions of dollars each year. The CTA is comprised of 7 provincial trucking associations, and our membership has over 5,000 carrier and supplier members from across the country. In turn, these companies employ over 250,000 Canadians. I want to lead my brief opening comments with what I believe you will quickly realize about this issue.
Oh, yeah?
That the Driver Inc. crisis in our industry is not a problem without clear and identifiable solutions. It's simply a crisis without the necessary political will to solve the problem. The issue the committee is examining is not a new one to our sector, nor should it be to the federal government. CTA has been sounding the alarm with the federal cabinet and provinces about this issue since 2018. The problems identified in 2018 have since been left to grow unchecked, and in 2025 has evolved into a full-blown crisis, a crisis of compliance, road safety, drug trafficking, human rights abuses, rampant labor law, and tax fraud. It's been allowed to become out of control. In the 2022 Fall Economic Statement, the federal government, the issue of Driver Inc. was addressed by name, with over half a page dedicated to the issue. The statement spoke about the tax and labor abuse taking place, and it stated that further details, particularly as they relate to taxation, would be revealed in the 2023 budget.
Jesus.
At the time, the industry took this to represent the government's acknowledgement of the issue and their commitment to fix it. However, when the 2023 budget arrived, it was completely silent on the issue and has left the industry questioning why ever since. Nonetheless, we are hopeful that this study sheds a light on this issue and why it is being allowed to persist for nearly a decade. Driver Inc., what is it?
What is it,
As the name suggests, it simply means incorporated drivers.
Hold on.
But of course...
Guys, what is Drivers Inc.? What is it? Am I just making things up, or am I actually a smart man that understands simple, complex systems?
Crisis without the necessary political will to solve the problem. The issue the committee is examining is not a new one to our sector, nor should it be to the federal government. CTA has been sounding the alarm with the federal cabinet and provinces about this issue since 2018.
Damn.
The problems identified in 2018 have since been left to
Look. Problems identified in 2018 have been left to grow. Could you imagine? If you have a problem with something, instead of just trying to come up with ideas to fix the problem, they just let it grow. Just let it get worse, right? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 8 years ago. Why didn't they fix it? Huh? Oh, okay.
to grow unchecked, and in 2025 has evolved into a full-blown crisis.
Here we
A
go.
crisis of compliance, road safety, drug trafficking, human rights abuses, rampant labor law, and tax fraud. It's been allowed to become out of control. In the 2022 Fall Economic Statement, the federal government, the issue of Driver Inc. was addressed by name, with over half a page dedicated to the issue. The statement spoke about the tax and labor abuse taking place, and it stated that further details, particularly as they relate to taxation, would be revealed in the 2023 budget. At the time, the industry took this to represent the government's acknowledgement of the issue and their commitment to fix it.
Damn.
However, when the 2023 budget arrived, it was completely silent on the issue and has left the industry questioning why ever since.
Why?
Nonetheless, we are hopeful that this study sheds a light on this issue and why it is being allowed to persist for nearly a decade. Driver Inc., what is it? As the name suggests, it simply means incorporated drivers. But of course, it is much more than just that. Driver Inc. was born in 2011 and is the offspring of the PSB tax classification, the introduction of a temporary moratorium on T4As, and the knowledge that unscrupulous trucking owners have had for a long time, that there is significant lack of enforcement and coordination between the federal departments of labor, CRA, and the provincial labor and tax equivalents. This issue does not stem from a lack of education or knowledge about the industry or governments. It's a well-thought-out scam that has expanded over the years to now incorporate immigration fraud, driver training fraud, human trafficking, the movement of contraband, and illegal cross-border shipments. This growing scam furthers the deterioration of highway safety across the country and the bankruptcy of many legitimate law-abiding trucking companies that are critical to the fabric of your communities. The unfortunate truth about this scam is that bad actors are not only winning, they are also taking over the industry and the Canadian supply chain.
Damn, son.
How does it work? Different departments have different independence tests, but some of the key components of all of them include ownership of tools, control integration, and the opportunity for profit and loss. In trucking, a Driver Inc. driver fails all of these and are virtually indistinguishable from a traditional employee. They work under the direction of the company, and the driver the company trucks. The only difference is they are coached, coerced, or elect to incorporate themselves in an attempt to masquerade as something other than an employee.
Wow.
For the company, they use this justification to strip workers of all their labor right entitlements under the Federal Labor Code. Together, this allows the company owner to pocket at least $20,000 to $30,000 per year per driver. On the flip side, exploiting CRA blind spots created by the T4A moratorium and a historical lack of interest in PSBs provides the opportunity to commit tax evasion. This is not hyperbole. It is verifiable fact. But ESDC and CRA have studied the issue, and both have found rampant noncompliance centered in the trucking industry, exactly as the labor has been saying for years.
Damn.
We have submitted a brief to the committee that explains the problem in details, provides glimpses of the mountain of evidence that has surfaced over the years, and provides details on what is needed.
Okay, let me pause.
These solutions include, this will be my last comment.
So yesterday they posted this. Hold on a second. The reason why I'm doing this stream is because it's like rampant. It's so blatant. Okay, look at this here. This was yesterday. Let's read it. October 7th, motorcycle rider struck and killed by impaired driver in road rage on Highway 11 in Oro Mendonte has been identified as a 27-year-old Harnoor Singh. OPP charged 37-year-old Donald Austin of Bracebridge with impaired driving causing death, dangerous operation causing death, driving while suspended, refused breath sample, and no insurance. This is him here. This is him here. Like, it's so crazy. Like, this is what they're doing. They're killing Canadians, literally killing Canadians. So, yeah, I'm just going to cover this because.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Ending the T4A moratorium immediately, implementing a Part 3 to the CRA's work on PSBs,
That's yesterday.
a call to coordinate with all federal and provincial governments and agencies on national misclassification blitz in the trucking industry with real penalties, deploy CRA, RCMP, ESDC, IRCC to truck inspection stations across the country, implement new security measures for Canadian and U.S. trucks crossing the international border to end criminal ownership, which has infiltrated Canadian fleets, expedite the completion and investment into the national database by Transport Canada that will create necessary oversight and knowledge of who owns and operates these fleets and their safety records in all provinces and territories.
Here's another.
There are also a host of other solutions that are in that larger document that you all have. Thank you again for the opportunity to address this committee, and I look forward to discussing these issues with you here today. Again, thank you very much. This is a critical issue for our industry, and thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Leskowski. Next, we'll go to.
Okay, hold on. There's another one here as well, right? Of foreign nationals being arrested. The media is not going to cover this, right? Quinte West, OPP have charged 5 foreign nationals with outstanding immigration warrants and suspected human trafficking on Highway 401. 14 people were packed into the van. OPP believes individuals are victims of exploited forced labor. Suspects have been turned over to CBSA. This is what they're doing. This is what they're doing. So you can't fool me. If you think you can fool me, you're so misinformed. It's not even funny. Let's continue on.
Ms. Splinter. Ms. Splinter, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes.
Here we go. Here's another.
Good afternoon, and thank you to Mr. Chair for the invitation to speak here today. We welcome this timely study on the examination of issues impacting Canada's trucking and logistics sector.
On the road.
Trucking HR Canada is a national workforce development council that works collaboratively with stakeholders in commercial transportation, public policy, training, and economic analysis, ensuring Canada's freight transportation network has the skilled workforce it needs. We offer a range of HR-related programs and resources, and we are the industry's national authority on labor market information. As a national not-for-profit, we are funded through federal and provincial grants and contributions and our own sustainable programming. We engage over 10,000 stakeholders through our communication and outreach initiatives. As the dominant mode of transportation in Canada's supply chain, the trucking and logistics sector is the most significant enabler of Canadian growth and prosperity.
Okay.
Our labor market data shows that 340,000 truck drivers are currently operating in Canada, reaching into every community nationwide.
Okay.
When we consider the priorities of Canadians today, expanding international trade, strengthening internal trade, driving economic growth, meeting housing and grocery needs, curbing inflation, the trucking and logistics sector is key, as these priorities all rely on effective goods movement.
Okay.
And while our nation's supply chain stability and economic viability rely on a strong trucking sector, we continue to experience job vacancies higher than other industries.
Wow.
Driver Inc. is a clear violation of both tax and labor compliance practiced by unethical trucking companies.
There you go.
Why is this a significant industry issue? It represents a black market and illegal rogue practice within the Canadian trucking sector, characterized by the deliberate misclassification of truck drivers as independent contractors rather than employees.
Wow.
I will speak to 3 specific areas of concern.
Here we go.
Impact on employee protections. This misclassification is strategically deployed to circumvent mandatory tax obligations and labor regulations, enabling companies to avoid remitting income and payroll taxes, EI, CPP contributions, and other statutory employee benefits. It also circumvents obligations related to overtime pay and fundamental employee benefits. As a result, many truck drivers under this model lose vital protections, including job stability, retirement benefits, sick leave, and holiday pay. These employment standards are core to Canada's labour culture and essential to fairness and equity in the workplace. Their
Absolutely.
erosion puts employees at risk and weakens the
Absolutely.
foundation of our social safety net.
Angela Splinter is 1,000% correct, right? It's like, is everybody, if everybody's cheating the system, right? The people that abide by the system, that are actually like abiding legitimately by the system, that's not fair to them. How's that fair to them? I want to know, how is that fair to them? Honest question. How is that fair to the people that are legitimately being honest and honestly abiding by the system's rules? How? And so this is what these guys are doing. They're cheating the system, especially within trucking. So this is what it is here. Simple. Let's continue on.
2, impact on our industry's ability to recruit and retain workers. The Driver Inc. model is directly impacting the long-term sustainability and stability of our workforce.
There you go.
This negative reputation fostered by these unethical practices is prompting new entrants and existing workers to seek opportunities elsewhere. There is a growing concern that the lack of labor protections will have a profound impact on the availability of skilled workers in the future. The model is a well-known practice within the industry, leading to more candidates inquiring about the model. This makes it harder for compliant fleets to recruit in an already small pool. 3, impact on Canadian priorities. With the current economic climate and trade issues, it is more important than ever that our country has a safe, secure, and compliant transportation infrastructure.
Absolutely.
This model directly impacts government tax revenue streams and also contributes to an uneven competitive landscape within the trucking industry, disadvantaging compliant carriers who adhere to labor and tax laws. The Driver Inc. model is creating a rigged market where compliant carriers struggle to compete against those exploiting the model for cost savings and profit.
There you go.
A serious concern here is that without adequately addressing the issue, compliant carriers may be tempted to take an "if we can't beat them, join them" stance.
That's it.
Canada's truck drivers keep our economy and our daily lives moving. They deserve fair treatment, safe working conditions, and employers who play by the rules. The Driver Inc. model undermines all of this. It is not just a labor issue, it's a matter of ethics, equity, and national integrity. We owe it to every legitimate carrier, every worker, and every taxpayer to end this practice once and for all and build a stronger, fairer industry together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Splinter. Next, we'll go to Ms. Couture. The floor is yours. You have 5 minutes, please.
Thank you. Bon après-midi, cher président et membres du comité.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee.
Director of the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. I've been a professional driver for 31 years, 27 of those as an owner-operator. I haul dangerous goods in a liquid chemical tanker for cross-border trade, contracted to one of Canada's largest carriers. I've traveled through all 10 provinces and the lower 48 states in every imaginable condition. That experience makes me a subject matter expert in road safety, and I am here to speak about how Driver Inc. is eroding it. I'm not just an advocate today. I am the voice of thousands of professionals, owner-operators, small carriers, instructors, and drivers who are being pushed out of the industry and by unchecked spread of Driver Inc. Financial pressure is being placed on those who follow the rules, while profit-driven actors cut corners on safety, maintenance, and training. They don't care about the drivers they put in the trucks.
No, they don't.
Or the public sharing the road.
Nope, they don't.
That's your family and mine.
That's right.
Driver Inc. is not innovation. It's exploitation disguised as flexibility.
Yes.
It misclassifies employee drivers as independent contractors, stripping them of basic protection while allowing carriers to dodge source deductions that fund social programs. These drivers lose out on benefits and face added liabilities in the event of a workplace accident. This model rewards evasion and punishes compliance. For small and mid-sized carriers, Driver Inc. is a death sentence. They're forced to compete with operators who underbid contracts by cutting corners. Owner-operators are pressured to accept rates that don't even cover costs.
There you go.
That's not competition, that's coercion. Insurance premiums are rising not because of individual risk, but because of overall increase in claims.
Yes.
Some insurers have even pulled out of the commercial market entirely. And safety. When drivers are misclassified, there's no employer oversight. No one is checking hours of service, vehicle maintenance, or training.
That's so crazy.
We're seeing more fatigue-related accidents, poorly maintained equipment, and unnecessary risks on our roads. This isn't just a labor issue, it's a public safety issue. What message are we sending to the next generation?
Exactly.
Young people see instability, exploitation, and lack of respect for the profession.
Yep.
A step forward is coordinated action from all levels of government. Consistent enforcement across all jurisdictions is a must. And we need a national trucking credential that protects workers, supports compliant carriers, and restores integrity to our sector. A credential that educates everyone on their rights and responsibilities.
Absolutely.
Fixing the financial deficiencies of Driver Inc. will have a mirror effect on fixing highway safety for all users.
Absolutely.
Merci de votre temps. Je suis ouverte à vos questions.
Thank you for
Merci.
your time. I'm open to your questions. Thank you, Madame Couture.
Okay, here we go.
I think Ms. Walker had some things to share as well, so over to you.
Afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Shelley Walker. I'm the CEO of the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. I have been a professional driver for over 30 years and now lead national efforts to promote safety, equality, and integrity in trucking. Through WTFC, I support women, youth, newcomers, and underrepresented groups in building sustainable careers, and I lead the No Human Trafficking campaign to educate our industry and the public about exploitation and forced labor.
Gee.
Trucking is uniquely positioned to be both a target of exploitation and a frontline defense against it. That's why I'm here today to call for an end to predatory misclassification schemes like Driver Inc., which destabilize our industry and create fertile ground for trafficking. Let me be clear, we fully support the lawful owner-operator model, but Driver Inc. entirely different. It misclassifies employee drivers, strips them of protections, shifts liabilities onto individuals, and rewards carriers who cut corners at the expense of safety and fairness. Only 4.3% of truck drivers in Canada are women. Under Driver Inc., maternity leave, predictable schedules, workplace accommodations disappear, making it nearly impossible for women and other underrepresented groups to build lasting careers. If we're serious about equity, we must ensure every driver has the security that only employee status provides. We're also seeing a rise in labor trafficking. Vulnerable drivers, often newcomers, are lured into fee-heavy arrangements, then trapped by withholding their passports, phantom surcharges, and threats. This is debt bondage in motion, a stain on our industry, and a threat to Canadian values. Predatory carriers gain up to 30% cost advantage by outsourcing wages, benefits, and safety obligations. Honest operators can't compete. Investment in training and maintenance dries up. Road safety suffers with more fatigue-related collisions, mechanical failures, and a risk for every Canadian family. WTFC has submitted a proposal for a national trucking credential, a practical, enforceable solution to restore integrity, protect vulnerable workers, and raise professional standards across Canada. The time for consultation is past. What we need now is decisive action. By funding and implementing this credential, Canada can send a clear message. Exploitation has no place in our supply chain, and trucking will remain a profession built on fairness, accountability, and pride. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Walker. Merci, Madame Couture, and thank you both for your steadfast dedication
Thank you, Ms. Walker.
for decades moving our economy forward. We begin our line of question today with Mr. Albus.
Listen
Mr.
to what
Albus,
he
the floor
said
is yours.
with the
You have 6
question.
minutes, sir.
Thank you,
Questions are
Mr.
crazy.
Chair, and thank you to all
What's
our
the
witnesses
answer?
for being here today. Look, Canadians are feeling unsafe on their roads. They're feeling unsafe in their communities. I hear the language from all of our witnesses here today, things like criminality, exploitation, and forced labor. chaos. These are not things that I would usually associate with the trucking industry, which used to be a job that could put food on the food on the table for a family. And the companies that I know in my area, like Barry and Smith Trucking, have great reputation as family generational businesses.
Okay.
So maybe I'll start with the CTA. Mr. Laskowski, can you identify, you said that there is a neglect after 10 years of successful Liberal governments. Can we start where the neglect has been most acute in your industry?
Listen to this.
So, it's from a federal perspective, it's twofold. The major responsibility at the federal level is both at the CRA with the PSB and the T4A, and then again at the labor side with the misclassification. I'll start on the tax side. With the T4As, the moratorium went in 2011. It was supposed to be temporary. We're now moving on 14. The definition of temporary, I don't believe, makes 14 years. It is an open gateway for misclassification and tax evasion. There are no records of these folks.
Oh my God.
And so they're able to hide. That is why there are many drivers participating in this. Some are forced and some are coerced, as you've heard. And then others just see it as the ability, I just won the lottery, the government doesn't care.
In April, I should say earlier this spring, Mark Carney called an election, and that killed some important parliamentary authorizations that would allow CRA to be able to do this work, to be getting on a misclassification. What's the CTA's opinion of this setback?
Well, we need that legislation back. It is critical that the CRA and the ESDC work together. They've committed to doing that to us, and that's an important step in ending driver Inc. A step, not the whole solution, but a step.
I've heard that 85% of the complaints regarding the Canadian Labour Code stem from the trucking industry. Is that about right?
That's, the answer is yes, the short answer, but I'm quite verbose, as you're about to all find out over the next hour. And I think you and others have said it, you're shocked that this isn't your father's trucking company anymore. We are all here as long-serving trucking members. It takes us with no great pride to come here, committee members, to talk about our industry the way you just heard it. We need this industry cleaned up. And the reality, committee members, is that the answer is yes.
So in your opinion, there are some very bad actors out there that are ruining your industry, that are making our highways unsafe and your industry chaotic. Would you also say that the government has been...
Could you imagine, though, like 10 years of Liberal politicians, and they have made Canada's highways, even America's highways, unsafe to even operate? So many people are losing their lives because of, the degradation of, competency. They're having these foreign nationals, some of the Indians coming over here, they can't speak fluent English. So what are they doing? They can't really read the signs or understand, the right of way of pedestrians, all these things. And so here we are today.
Lottery, the government doesn't care.
Here we are today.
I should say earlier this spring, Mark Carney called an election, and that killed some important parliamentary authorizations that would allow CRA to be able to do this work, to be getting on a misclassification. What's the CTA's opinion of this setback?
Well, we need that legislation back. It is critical that the CRA and the ESDC work together. They've committed to doing that to us, and that's an important step in ending driver Inc. A step, not the whole solution, but a step.
I've heard that 85% of the complaints regarding the Canadian Labour Code stem from the trucking industry. Is that about right?
That's, the answer is yes, the short answer, but I'm quite verbose, as you're about to all find out over the next hour. And I think you and others have said it, you're shocked that this isn't your father's trucking company anymore. We are all here as long-serving trucking members, it takes us with no great pride to come here, committee members, to talk about our industry the way you just heard it. We need this industry cleaned up. And the reality, committee members, is that the answer is yes.
So in your opinion, there are some very bad actors out there that are ruining your industry, that are making our highways
Bad apples,
unsafe
right?
and your industry
There's always a
chaotic.
couple bad apples and a bag of good apples.
Would you also say that the government has been
Uh-uh.
adding fuel to the fire by its continued inaction? What are some of the tangible steps that they should immediately take to secure our roads?
Bring back the T4As, enforce PSBs, and start going out with serious teeth enforcing misclassification at the federal level.
Okay. I'd like to just quickly go to Ms. Walker of the Women's Trucking Federation of Canada. You had mentioned earlier exploitation and forced labor. Those are shocking words to me, ma'am. What do you think is, like, who are these people that are being abused, and how in this day and age are we allowing this kind of conduct?
Exactly.
I think what might be shocking for the committee members to hear is that these are people that are coming to Canada through legitimate pathways.
Okay.
They're coming through as TFWs, LMIAs. They're recruited over in their own country.
Are you saying that our immigration system is fueling this?
Yes.
So structurally, explain that, please. How is the lack of action at the Canadian government level allowing this kind of gross behavior?
A lot of times for most of these immigrants, when they come over here and they're on a work placement, they have to work at one place. They don't know what that employer is like other than what they're told when they're recruited. I have drivers now that I have helped that have been only living inside of a truck, which is a little box. They're being paid 38 cents a mile. The rest of the fleet's being paid 70 cents a mile. They don't have their passports. They're running Canada only.
Well, ma'am, I only have limited time, but I just want to say thank you for being brave and coming forward, all of you for being brave to come and say something that I know you've all had a great career in this industry, so it must sadden you.
So here's another example of more disgusting liberal policies. This is their policy. This is their policy. Here's another one.
Compete against these bad actors who are flooding our marketplace. As you've heard from witnesses that have appeared before this committee earlier,
I do not like to do, but I do it for the benefit of our members who all
Here's a new
have
one.
a fixed amount of question time.
So again, Drivers Inc.
With that,
is
colleagues, I'd
something
like
that's
to
going on
welcome our
on
witnesses
Canadian
for
highways.
today. We have from
And
Atlantic
you need to
Provinces
be aware
Trucking
of this.
Association,
This is an important
Chris
thing.
McKee, Executive
It's a
Director.
very
Welcome
important
to you,
thing.
sir. We have
People
from
should be
Spring
aware of
Creek
this, man.
Carriers, Inc., Mark Bill.
Be aware.
Bilesma?
Be understanding.
Did I get
of
that
it.
right?
Perfect.
Fantastic. Bilesma, President and Chair of the Ontario Trucking Association, and from Transport Saint-Pamphile. And garde ça. Véronique
Right, these
Gagné,
are the
vice-présidente.
experts.
Bienvenue.
Doesn't the government
We'll
say we
start
should
with our
listen to
opening
the
remarks,
experts?
and for that,
I'm
I'll turn
listening
the
to
floor
the
over
experts.
to you,
is
Mr.
what you're
McKee.
saying.
You have 5 minutes, sir.
Yep.
thank you,
I
Mr.
am.
Chair, members of the committee, good morning, and thank you for allowing me to appear before you today. My name is Chris McKee. I'm here on behalf of the members of the Atlantic Provinces Trucking Association. We're a privately funded nonprofit group representing about 340 member companies employing tens of thousands of Canadians across the Atlantic provinces. We are proud to be one of 7 provincial associations that make up the Canadian Trucking Alliance. I appear before you here this morning because our members are suffering under the truck driver misclassification scheme that's proliferating our industry, known as Driver Inc.
Yep.
Many of these are generational family businesses, both large, small, and are now facing an existential crisis. Our members are being punished for doing things the right way, for being good corporate citizens.
That's right. Imagine you paying taxes your whole life. You're doing things the right way, and you're being punished for that. That's what they're trying to do. Punish the people that follow the rules. Punish the people that abide by the laws. The people that don't abide by the laws, they don't give a shit. They don't care. Again, they don't listen to our they don't follow our laws. They just want monetary. They just want the fiat currency. That's all they want. But again, here's more examples of it.
Driver Inc. has weakened our industry from a safety, labor, and competitive standpoint.
There
This
you
is a
have it.
crisis of fairness, safety, and the rule of
Crisis
law.
of fairness.
If you follow the law, you lose.
Where was this 20 years
If
ago,
you cheat,
10
you
years
win.
ago?
And right now in Canada's trucking industry, the cheaters are winning. In Atlantic Canada, we're witnessing carriers downsizing fleets, reducing truck count. We're seeing them pause or scale back employee benefits such as health and dental and RRSP contributions, and in worst case scenarios, laying off staff just to stay afloat and to compete against these bad actors who are flooding our marketplace.
Oh my God.
As you've heard from witnesses that have appeared before this committee earlier in the week, in the simplest terms, Driver Inc. is an illegal model where companies misclassify drivers as independent contractors instead of employees. Drivers are often coerced into incorporating themselves, even though they drive company trucks. The company pays for their fuel, insurance, and maintenance. Under the Canada Labour Code, those individuals are clearly defined as employees, not contractors.
Absolutely.
So let's call it what it is. Driver Inc. is payroll fraud, it's tax fraud,
Yep.
and it's labor fraud.
Yep.
This scheme allows companies to avoid paying payroll taxes like CPP.
Let's go back. Let's listen to the fraud that's going on. And everybody's pretending like it doesn't exist.
Punish for doing things the right way for being good corporate
You want to
citizens.
try to punish me for doing things the right way?
Driver Inc. has
Abiding
weakened
by
our
the
industry
law?
from a
Well,
safety,
these guys
labor,
cheat
and
the
competitive
system?
standpoint.
I'm gonna
This is a
do
crisis
things the
of
right way.
fairness,
I've been
safety,
doing it
and the
for
rule of
35,
law.
37
If you follow
years.
the law, you
doing
lose.
things the right way.
If you cheat, you win.
So
And right
there's
now in
cheaters over
Canada's
here, and then
trucking
there's
industry,
honest
the cheaters
people
are
over here.
winning.
It's so crazy to me.
In Atlantic Canada, we're witnessing carriers downsizing fleets, reducing truck count.
Crazy.
We're seeing them pause or scale back employee benefits such as health and dental and RRSP contributions, and in worst case scenarios, laying off staff just to stay afloat and to compete against these bad actors who are flooding our marketplace. As you've heard from witnesses that have appeared before this committee earlier in the week,
that crazy?
in the simplest terms, Driver Inc. is an illegal model where companies misclassify drivers as independent contractors instead of employees. Drivers are often coerced into incorporating themselves, even though they drive company trucks. The company pays for their fuel, insurance, and maintenance. Under the Canada Labour Code, those individuals are clearly defined as employees, not contractors.
Correct.
So let's call it what it is. Driver Inc. is payroll fraud, it's tax fraud, and it's labor fraud. This scheme allows companies to avoid paying payroll taxes like CPP and EI, costing Ottawa billions of dollars a year. They avoid labor obligations such as overtime, holidays, and paid leave. And they avoid workers' compensation premiums, leaving drivers unprotected in the event of injury.
Yep.
We estimate that these firms can undercut legitimate carriers by 25 to 30% per driver in avoided payroll burden. This translates to between $20,000 and $30,000 per year per driver. The perceived benefit to drivers is also deeply concerning. The continued moratorium on T4As removes accountability and has enabled a widespread underground economy to thrive in our sector.
Underground economy.
Our members are not afraid of healthy competition. They're not losing because they're inefficient. They're losing because they follow the law. Rates are being
Imagine
driven to
losing when
unsustainable
you can
levels,
follow the
eroding
law.
profitability.
Imagine losing, but you're following the law. Like, it's so crazy to me, man.
Profitability for
It's so
compliant carriers.
crazy.
In fact, one carrier I recently spoke with a few days ago just lost a major contract. The competing carrier that took the contract was quoting rates that have not been seen since the 1990s.
Oh my
not
God. Hold on,
contractors. So let's call it what it is. Driver Inc. is payroll fraud, it's tax fraud, and it's labor fraud. This scheme allows companies to avoid paying payroll taxes like CPP and EI, costing Ottawa billions of dollars a year. They avoid labor obligations such as overtime, holidays, and paid leave.
Oh, it's so crazy.
And they avoid workers' compensation premiums, leaving drivers unprotected in the event of injury. We estimate that these firms can undercut legitimate carriers by 25 to 30% per driver in avoided payroll burden. This translates to between $20,000 and $30,000 per year per driver. The perceived benefit to drivers is also deeply concerning. The continued moratorium on T4As removes accountability and has enabled a widespread underground economy to thrive in our sector. Our members are not afraid of healthy competition. They're not losing because they're inefficient. They're losing because they follow the law. Rates are being driven to unsustainable levels, eroding profitability for compliant carriers. In fact, one carrier I recently spoke with a few days ago
Crazy.
just lost a major contract. The competing carrier that took the contract was quoting rates that have not been seen since the 1990s. This is how cheap these guys are coming in and taking business from compliant companies.
Cheap labor.
As you've also heard this week, training and safety
what they
standards
want,
are
cheap
collapsing.
labor.
As these
Get things
operators
done
cut
fast
corners
and
on
cheap.
wages, they also cut corners on maintenance
Cutting
and
corners,
compliance,
cutting
and
corners.
it's making our highways less safe.
Oh, there you go.
Governments are losing millions annually, employment standards are eroding, wages collapse, and the driver shortage worsens because good people don't want to join an industry with
They created this problem, man, and we all have to deal with it. They're the ones, the orchestrators that created this
a
problem.
ground economy to thrive in our sector.
It's so crazy.
Our members are not afraid of healthy competition. They're not losing because they're inefficient. They're losing because they follow the law. Rates are being driven to unsustainable levels, eroding profitability for compliant carriers. In fact, one carrier I recently spoke with a few days ago just lost a major contract. The competing carrier that took the contract was quoting rates that have not been seen since the 1990s.
Jesus Christ.
This is how cheap these guys are coming in and taking business from compliant companies.
Cheap labor.
As you've also heard this week, training and safety standards are collapsing. As these operators cut corners on wages, they also cut corners on maintenance and compliance, and it's making our highways less safe.
There you have it.
Governments are losing millions annually, employment standards are eroding, wages collapse, and the driver shortage worsens because good people don't want to join an industry where the rule breakers are calling the shots.
That's right.
Every time a driver Inc. company wins a contract, a legitimate Canadian business loses, and so do their workers, our communities, and our tax base.
Yep.
This committee does not need to invent new tools. They already exist. Government just needs to use them. Our recommendations are aligned with that of our colleagues at the Canadian Trucking Alliance. We ask that you lift the T4A moratorium immediately, continue to provide resources and further provide resources to CRA and ESDC to hire auditors, and to continue to enforce or encourage rather information sharing among federal departments. We ask that you eliminate Driver Inc. fleets from government and Crown contracts, bar non-compliant carriers from immigration and training programs through preferred and trusted employer models, and accelerate the work that Transport Canada is doing on a national carrier database for full transparency. Mr. Chair, the bad actors are thriving and they're expanding into Atlantic Canada.
Yep.
They're threatening the survival of compliant fleets, hollowing out our tax base, and putting our public safety at risk.
Yep.
Trucking is vital to our regional economy. We already face higher costs than many of our peers, longer empty miles and higher fuel prices, and this is just another part of a perfect storm that's impacting our fleets.
Yep.
It's time for Canada to take the same elbows up approach on this issue that we've taken in trade and competitiveness, defending those who play by the rules, standing up for fairness, and refusing to let the lawbreakers elbow their way to the front of the line.
There you go.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. McKee. Next, we'll go to Mr. Bylsma. Mr. Bylsma, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, and I'd like to thank the committee for giving the crisis of Driver Inc. the time it deserves today. My name is Mark Bylsma. I'm president of Spring Creek Carriers and the current chair of the Ontario Trucking Association. Spring Creek is located in Beamsville, Ontario, in the riding of Niagara West, and we operate approximately 40 trucks, primarily hauling less than truckload freight between the U.S. and Canada. We're a first-generation family business, and we're celebrating 30 years of business this year. And it is sad to say we will not be a second-generation family business. Like many of our colleagues, many other family trucking companies, we've told our kids to go find a career in a different industry. Because unlike 30 years ago, there's no future for trucking in Canada. The sole reason for this last statement is summarized by these two words: Driver Inc.
Okay, hold on. Let me show you guys some more of this Drivers Inc. thing. Look at this part. This was just posted today. Illegal migrant trucker handed official driver license with no name given after being released into United States by Biden. No name license carried a Class A designation, which allowed the illegal migrant truck driver to operate heavy vehicles weighing up to more than 26,000 pounds. The document was issued on April 14, 2025 and expired May 26, 2028, according to the photo released by the DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, I think that's it, slammed New York over issuing of its licenses. It's a real thing. I'm going to talk about it, right? The document, right? Like this is his license. It's not legitimate. So you have non-legitimate license owners on the road. I mean, I had to go to a school to get my driver's license. So this is what they're doing. They're cheating the system. And that's a slap in the face to the citizens of this country.
In my remarks, I'm going to assume that you have read the CTA report, the costing appendix, as it explains the crisis very well, along with our recommendations. As an owner, I've done the math. As a relatively small carrier, if I utilize the illegal driver Inc. model just for tax purposes, not including the additional shortcuts and scams the CTA has summarized in their report, we would conservatively save $1.5 million per year in payroll taxes and employee benefits like vacation, overtime, and sick days. When you compare that to my revenues of just under 15 million, you can see this is more than 10%. Most people in our industry don't make 10% in a good year. My average, I'm going to get a little granular in some numbers here. My average revenue per shipment last year was $650. The driver crowd can do that for $585. And in today's economic climate, I'll lose an order over $10. Imagine if my customers could save $65. They wouldn't even call me again. This isn't about the driver Inc. crowd being smarter or more efficient. It's about stealing $65 on every order. It's about stealing $1.5 million from the Canadian people, from our government every year. And those numbers are small in comparison to the overall problem because Spring Creek is small in comparison to the overall industry. The billions of dollars outlined in the CTA package are not made up, they're not fabricated. I am and will forever be a capitalist. Only the strong survive. Laissez-faire is what I always said. What does laissez-faire mean? It's defined as a hands-off approach in economics and leadership, advocating for minimal government intervention or supervision to allow individuals and markets to operate freely. But our government has gone too far. They are allowing individuals and markets to break every conceivable law to line their own pockets. Tax evasion, labor and immigration abuse, crime and corruption, and the list goes on. As a member company of the CTA and the OTA, Spring Creek believes in employee rights and employee standards, and we believe in an environment of fair competition where everyone plays by the same rules. I want to stress these are not rules our associations or myself have made up. These are rules set out by our government. This committee needs to recommend ways to stop those that don't believe these things and restore law and order to our industry.
I would hope so.
This is the tip of the iceberg. We're in a crisis, and if nothing is done today, this lawlessness will decimate our industry, and this contagious disease will spread out of control throughout all sectors. And our government, I would say, is complicit in this. By not doing anything, by not enforcing your own legislation, you've been saying and are continuing to say, Driver Inc. is okay, it's acceptable to break the laws of our land.
Basically.
If the government doesn't do anything, my company will fail. If we fail, it's not because we weren't efficient. It's not because we were lazy or didn't work hard. On the contrary, we've been forced to be extremely efficient just to survive to see today.
Right.
Our business was built on abiding by the laws of the land, honesty,
the laws of the land.
This is what our nation was built on.
That's what I thought it was too.
Culture of corruption that is being allowed to proliferate within our industry is what my business and this country will die from.
Yep, it will. It's already happening.
We need the federal government to get in the game, protect employee rights, help the provinces and the federal government, for that matter, collect their fair share of income tax, employee health tax, payroll taxes, etc., follow the recommendations by the CTA report, and rid our industry of the lawlessness that has taken it over.
They're going to be cracking down soon. And when they do, I'll be here to stream that up because they're going to be cracking down.